All right. Hello and welcome to Beyond Reproach. This is Tux Lurzel.
And Stephanie Domingo.
I come to you from the D.
No, you don't. That's incorrect.
I come to you from Detroit, Michigan, where I record on land belonging to the Ojibwe, Ottawa, Potawatomi, and Wyandot nations.
And I come to you from Flatbush, Brooklyn, where I'm currently recording on land belonging to the Lenape Nation. Yeah.
Facts are facts, America. These are all some of many nations that are still very much out here doing their thing, and we would like to acknowledge that.
Hell yeah.
Beyond Reproach is the show about scandals and scandalousness in American politics and government. And as per usual, we be swearing and we be drinking. So today we are drinking gimlets.
Finally.
Finally. I can't believe that we have never consumed gimlets on the show before. When you suggested gimlets, this was Stephanie's idea to do a gimlet. She said it's pertinent to her scandal today. But when she was like, oh, we got to do gimlets, I was like, no, we can't do gimlets. We've done that before. And then I look back, I was like, oh no, we never did gimlets.
No.
How is that possible?
I think we were saving it for a special occasion.
Yes. Well, this is said special occasion.
Yes.
Stephanie and I both fucking love gimlets. They're the best.
So good.
We've loved them forever. They're especially great in the summer for like day drinking in the sun. They're the best. This is like the go-to summer bev.
Yeah. You can't go wrong with a gimlet.
Yeah. The history of the gimlet is actually much more interesting than I was expecting it to be. I was pleasantly surprised when I started doing my research the other day.
Okay, hopefully it matches up with my I read like 2 sentences and I'm like, we're doing a gimlet. I'm like, that's all I need.
Amazing. So gimlets were actually created as a way to get English sailors to drink more lime juice.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. My story has to do with sailing.
Yes, of course it does. That's what I figured when I knew that your story was paired up with a gimlet somehow. I was like, It has to be about colonialism in some way.
Sure is.
Yeah. So during the height of British colonialism, scurvy was a very serious problem on English sailing ships. In the 17th century, we finally began to understand that consuming citrus fruit helped prevent it, but we still didn't really understand how or why it did. So a lot of people were really resistant to the idea that like the cure for scurvy was so simple and so easy.
So
they're like, no, that couldn't be.
Scurvy is like a deficiency of vitamin C.
It's a vitamin C deficiency, but it's like a serious disease.
Does it like kill you?
I don't know about that, but I think it might. But like apparently human beings are one of the only species that doesn't produce its own vitamin C, that has to get it from food. Okay. There's a few others, but like it's very rare in the animal kingdom to not produce your own vitamin C. So scurvy is a very, very serious and very like painful and horrible disease.
I knew that it was painful.
Yeah. I don't know if it's deadly or not. I can't.
I feel like it has to be.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
Yeah, let me look that up.
But so, we know today that it's caused by a vitamin C deficiency, but it took centuries for citrus rations to become standard practice on ships because people just like didn't want to believe that was all it took.
Yeah, it kills people.
Yeah.
It causes, causes the body to disintegrate.
Yikes. That sounds very painful and horrible.
Oh, no. Ooh, okay. Okay. I've read too much. I read just gums putrefy.
Oh, and God.
I'm out.
Happy Halloween.
Here I was thinking my story wasn't like Halloween-y enough. Good God.
We're talking about putrefying body parts. That's disgusting. Oh my God.
Oh my God. I wish I didn't know that. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't know.
It's October. Them's the rules. We got to have that. But yeah, so finally in 1867, the Merchant Shipping Act in England made it mandatory for all British ships to carry rations of lime juice for the crew. And the sailors all started adding the lime juice to their booze, mostly rum.
Okay.
Yeah, earning them the name limeys. That was a very common nickname for English, eventually for English people in general, but originally it was English sailors were called limeys.
Okay.
Yeah, because they had to drink so much lime juice to prevent scurvy. So rum, in fact, was often used as a preservative in fresh lime juice. They would add like 15% rum to the lime juice to keep it from spoiling on these ships over long periods of time. But the same year that the Merchant Shipping Act went into effect, a Scottish shipyard owner named Lachlan Rose patented a process for preserving fruit juice with sugar rather than alcohol. And so to give his product wider appeal, he packaged the mixture in an attractive glass bottle and named it Rose's Lime Cordial.
Oh, shit.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So legend has it that while lowly sailors like to drink their lime juice with rum, officers preferred gin and soon started mixing their Rose's Lime Cordial with their gin, thus creating the Gimlet out of necessity rather than pleasure. They just needed a way to get their lime juice in.
It could be both.
Yes. Yeah, they would have been drinking it warm, of course. There was no ice on these tropical voyages to the Indies. But they developed a taste for it and they brought it back to British society. And it turns out that lime and gin are a match made in heaven.
Yeah.
And when chilled with ice, the Gimlet blew up and just became everywhere. Like everyone was drinking the shit.
As it should.
It was delicious. It was sweet. It was easy to make and easier to drink. The one thing is, though the drink was popular since like the mid 19th century, the name Gimlet didn't actually appear in print until the 1920s.
Oh, okay.
After that, though, it was basically in every cocktail book, especially throughout the 30s. Every book had a recipe for a gimlet. So as for where the name comes from, a gimlet was a small tool used to tap the barrels of spirits that were carried on British naval ships. Okay. They said that it had a piercing effect on the drinker.
A piercing
like a little tool that would bore a hole into the liquor barrels. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a stretch.
Sure.
Another story cites a naval doctor named Rear Admiral Sir Thomas Desmond Gimlet.
Ooh.
Yes. Who is said to have mixed gin with lime juice to, quote, help the medicine go down.
Ha!
The story is possible, but not exactly plausible.
Yeah.
First of all, during his career, mixing lime juice and gin was already standard practice. Everyone was already doing this. And the possibility that the cocktail was named after him was never mentioned in any of the literature about him during his lifetime, nor in his obituary.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
They be telling lies on him. Is this like the family, like his estate?
Yes.
It's like, actually, you owe me money.
Yes, Sir, what was it? Rear Admiral Sir Thomas Desmond Gimlet. You owe the family of this man some coins.
Get out of here.
Yeah. So the most common original recipe for the Gimlet was simply 1/2 Rose's Lime Cordial and 1/2 gin.
That's extremely sweet.
Yes. The one thing is that the recipe for Roses has changed over the years.
I was just about to ask.
Yeah. It's actually no longer called Rose's Lime Cordial. It's now just known as Rose's Lime Juice. But the cordial apparently had a very different recipe from the Rose's Lime Juice that you can get at the bar today.
Cordial means like there's alcohol in it or something?
I would assume it must have some sort of alcohol in it, but it's mostly sugar. I don't know if it was less sweet or more sweet. I don't actually know. But suffice it to say, it's not the same as Rose's Lime Juice that you can find in a bar today. It's not the same. Yeah. But originally it was equal parts Rose's Lime Cordial and gin. If you were to try to make this with Rose's Lime Juice today, this like syrupy sweet, artificial tasting new recipe makes for a syrupy sweet, artificial tasting gimlet.
Well, that was the first gimlet I had.
It was still delicious. It's
it did not stop me from drinking it.
Absolutely. But modern tastes have also sort of changed, and most people prefer a slightly less sweet gimlet. So most cocktail nerds today, most mixologists today, the standard is to make a drink that is made with gin, fresh lime juice, and simple syrup. But some cocktail nerds and cocktail historians say that this isn't actually a gimlet at all, that this is actually a gin daiquiri.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which, like, okay, but also, what's wrong with that?
Yeah.
It's fucking delicious.
It's really good. Yeah, give me a gin
daiquiri.
Daiquiri.
Any
yes,
day
please.
of the week. Yes. Yeah, exactly. I have even seen some bartenders use a mix of fresh lime juice with Rose's lime juice instead of simple syrup so that they can like include the Rose's lime in there in that, you know. But some of the like gimlet purists out there are now trying to like come up with recipes to try and replicate the original recipe for Rose's lime cordial. Yeah. So that they can make their own version at home. We didn't do all that. We are drinking the very simple, very easy, and very delicious gin daiquiri version of the gimlet, which is fucking delicious.
Yeah, I can't wait.
So let's take a sip.
Yeah.
Without further ado.
Cheers.
Cheers.
When I was a kid at school learning the golden rule, teacher often used to say, if you don't tell a lie, there's not a reason why you can't be like Washington someday. How could Washington be a married man and never, never tell a lie?
Cheers.
Yes. Yeah.
I'm using your these glasses that you gave me.
Oh my God. Yes, I love it. I love it.
Tux gave me these presidential glasses for my birthday a few years back. And I'm who is this? James Madison. I don't know what you were about, but you were probably trash.
I was just gonna say, fuck that guy. I don't even know why, but fuck that guy.
You're correct.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Like it's so summery.
It's perfect. It's perfect. It's a flawless cocktail.
It's sweet, but not too sweet. It's citrusy, but not overpowering. You can definitely taste the gin, but it doesn't overpower either. It's everything I want in a cocktail, especially in the summer.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, it is October. It is spooky season, but it's also like it kind of has that same sort of like ghostly, eerie, clear quality that the what was it? The Last Word had.
It's ghastly.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Ghastly.
It's so good.
So it's perfect. I love it so much. I
still can't believe that this is the first time we're having gimlets on the show.
So you really thought we already did it?
When you said gimlets, I was like, that sounds delicious. We've already done it, but I'll do it again because it's so good.
Oh, wow.
I didn't even say anything. I was like, this is going to be our first repeat cocktail episode.
Oh my God.
But that's fine because they're so fucking good. And then I looked back and I was like, oh, we didn't.
No, we've never done it.
I was like, I don't mind repeating a cocktail when it's this
I love that
good.
you would do that for the gimlet.
For
Noted.
Gimlet. Yeah,
Noted.
Totally.
We're coming back. Maybe by then they'll have the cordial.
Yeah.
The people will be in the lab working on it.
Yeah, right.
Those cocktail people are definitely on Reddit.
I know. This episode hasn't even posted yet, and they're roasting us currently. Like these people don't know what they're doing. Yeah. That's a lot. That's a gin daiquiri.
Yeah, we are amateur hour
and
right
we're
now.
Like, and?
Yeah, seriously.
Gin daiquiri does not sound like a problem to me.
Go on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so I'm excited for this. I'm just gonna jump right in.
Go for it.
So my story isn't like proper scary, like spooky scary, like spooky season, but it's about someone who is a monster.
I love it.
A week ago marked the country's annual tradition of half of us acting like Christopher Columbus is in our family, is our play cousin. The other half of us acting like we're so embarrassed and ashamed that we're still celebrating this man in the year of our Lord 2022 in this economy. We have people like Ron DeSantis, who's like faux aggrieved by the mentioning of Indigenous Peoples Day. Like that somehow is a knife in his side.
Just as I thought. Trash.
Grow up. Yeah. Grow up. For those of you who missed it, last year, President Biden, this was the first ever presidential proclamation of Indigenous Peoples Day. So he gets.
Oh, I didn't. I missed that. Yes,
oh, did you? Yeah. So the day is still technically Columbus Day, but it shares a holiday with Indigenous Peoples Day.
Okay. And this is like official that it's
Official.
additional. Okay.
So you can be like, not my holiday.
I mean, I was doing that before.
Same.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't know that man. I don't know her.
Yeah. So this is symbolic, but I'll take it.
Yeah.
It's a step in the right direction. It's like Juneteenth.
Oh God, I just realized that what this means we're going to be talking about today. I just got sad.
Well, I think well, it is both, but yeah, I'm just going to jump into it. So everyone kind of knows, like you know the basics, and you know that it's nothing good.
Oh no.
You know that everything that you learned about this man was bogus.
Bunk.
Yeah, he was a genocidal monster who started two of the greatest crimes against humanity in the Western world.
And also never set foot on...
I'm going to get there. Yes. Yeah. Not once. Not a pinky toe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Lies.
Liza Minnelli lies.
Liza Minnelli lies.
Yes.
He is responsible for the genocide of Native Americans and the transatlantic slave trade.
Oh,
he was also a dummy. He was shit at maps. His
he literally thought he was in India, right?
Yes. Until his death, he thought he was in India.
Jesus.
Yeah. I knew vaguely the reason why Columbus was celebrated, that Italian Americans felt very strongly about him. Like the reason we still celebrate it. So
it came way later, right? Like, oh, is that what we're talking about today?
Yes, that's what we're talking about.
Ooh.
Yeah, so my scandal today is the rebranding of Christopher Columbus and the holiday invented as a PR campaign to smooth over some good old American lynching.
Oh my God.
Yeah. But first a toast.
Yes.
You're a little what?
I was going to say I'm a little sad that it's not a spooky story, but I'm also thrilled that we're finally talking about this because this has been sort of like in the back corner of my mind for a long time.
Same. And I felt a little bad. I'm like, this isn't really spooky, but it fits for October.
It's October appropriate.
And when I really looked into the details of who this man was, I'm like, oh, there's a lot here.
It's monstrous for sure.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So first a toast. Let us raise our glasses high.
To genocide.
Yeah, basically. Well, to wishing that Christopher Columbus died of dick scurvy.
If only. If only his dick had putrefied.
Oh. Yeah. Cheers. Rest in piss.
Oh, if only. Rest in piss.
I'm not. Have you never heard rest in piss? I say
no, but I love it.
It's my favorite. I think I said that for Jerry Falwell. Yeah. If you were reading the show notes, it's in there.
Oh, okay. Because I usually just copy and paste.
Yeah. Not in the show notes. I'm sorry. On Instagram.
Oh, okay.
On Instagram. It's in the description. I'm not going to go into who Columbus was. If you're really curious, check out his wiki. It will not be in the show notes. Fuck that guy.
Check out your fucking grade school history book.
Yeah, it's lies. I want to start by just dispelling two of the most fantastic myths about this man before jumping into how and the why he was made into a folk hero despite everything. So the legend goes something like this. 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
That sounds very familiar.
Right? Desantis actually tweeted this last year. I'm like, sir, how old are you? Are you this many? Are you holding up the number of fingers that you are? Like, what?
He is this many.
Yeah.
He has to do like
yeah, he has to flash things.
Yeah, Stephanie you can't see my like flashing 10 fingers multiple times.
That is what children do. It's true. Amazing. So he sailed for what he thought was Asia. He, according to the legend, he defied the Spanish rule and decided to go west instead of going east because he alone, mind you, knew that the world was round. He's just that smart, don't you know?
So he thought that he was he was going the opposite way, and he was just finding his way to the other side of India.
Yes. He was taking the scenic route because he was really just, brave, etc. He was also really sturdy.
So he was smart enough to know that the earth was round, but stupid enough to not know how big it was.
Oh, I love that you said that. Yes. Yes. But there's just...
if there hadn't been something in the way, it would have taken him like a fucking year to get to India.
And again, okay, you're basically making the argument right now because he did not know the size. I'm going to get into like the specifics of it, but everyone had been knowing that the earth was round. This was not new knowledge.
I mean, yeah, I was going to say what
2,000 years before he was born, it was proven by
common knowledge.
Common knowledge. It was proven by Aristotle and Pythagoras, the triangle dude, that the world was
he
round.
had some sort of theorem. I don't know.
Yeah, geometry, etc.
etc.
So this is not true. Even in the 1200s, educated people, everyone knew that the world was round, let alone the late 1400s. Like, this is absurd.
And yet here we are in 2022.
I was just...
Shut up.
Yes, it wasn't like today is in my notes.
The people in the 1200s be knowing, but
be knowing. They be knowing, and it's like that. It like really hurt my feelings. I don't know why I did this. Well, to hurt myself. I'm like, how many people really believe? Like, I think I googled like how many people believe. It's millennials that mostly.
Millennials. God, we're dumb.
I think the statistic is something like 86% of people have always believed that the world is round.
86%. So that means 14% of people don't
have wavered. Haven't. Maybe they say only 2% of Americans, period, believe that the earth is flat.
That's still too high.
A lot of us have wavered.
Oh God. Okay. I'll take 2%. It still feels too high to me. But
yeah.
Considering how many millions of fucking people live here.
Yeah. 2% is not okay, but like it's not that bad. I was expecting it to be higher.
Same. I literally thought you were going to say it was like 15% of people, period.
But almost that many have wavered. And I'm like, what is
they
your
like
story?
Looked out at an airplane window and were like, it's flat.
Oh my God.
You're not high enough, sir.
So if everyone knew that the world was round, because they did, why weren't other people going in the western direction?
Because it's too fucking big.
Exactly. They thought there was nothing there, and they thought if they sailed west, they would die. They would run out of supplies, and they'd be dead.
I mean, they didn't know that this huge landmass was here.
They didn't know anything about North America, South America, or Central America. They thought it was open water.
Yeah, they would have no way of knowing.
Yeah.
Which makes complete sense. But like to think that he knew that everyone thought he was bonkers to sail this way and that there was all this open water. And still when he got there was like, I'm in India. It's fine.
Yeah.
They just magically don't have cinnamon or nutmeg or all the other spices that I'm here to get. They don't have them, but I'm still in India.
In India.
Fine.
So there is this feeling amongst some Americans are like, okay, fine. Like he wasn't the one to discover that the world is round, but he was just really bold by going the long way to Asia.
I guess if by bold you mean dumb.
Yes. Yeah, dumb. So he did not believe in math. He thought math, like as understood for thousands of years, was wrong. Math is for sheeple, don't you know? He had his own math.
Y'all can't see how high my eyebrows just got.
Yeah. Wait, you don't have your own math? Sad. So instead of trusting experts in globes, because globes had just come out, instead of trusting just, facts and science.
Globes are fucking lying. Globes are liars.
But he had his own calculation. So by his calculation, by his math, air quotes around math, the earth was thousands of miles smaller than it was. And get this, it was shaped like a pear with a nipple on top.
I have actually heard about the pear-shaped theory.
Have you heard about the nipple?
No, I also didn't know that it was Columbo that came up with this theory.
Yes.
Wow. Okay.
He thought the world, and this is a quote from his own writing, was a ball with a breast-like protuberance.
I love a good breast-like protuberance.
Huh? Yeah. Like, so this is from an article.
But like, why though?
His own math. So his whole thing was like, it was more narrow at a certain point. So he could.
Why though? Well, like, what was there like?
Look at you.
I mean, I guess you can't make sense out of nonsense.
Yeah. You're like, was there? No, there was the whatever answer you're asking is no.
He just got drunk one night and was like, it looks like a boob.
It seems that way. So this is from a New Yorker article. Quote, he felt himself not just crossing the ocean, but going up it. His whole ship being lifted gently toward the sky. Had he reached the very tip of the protuberance, he concluded he would have sailed straight into the terrestrial paradise. Is this erotica?
Seriously, he's writing erotic fan fiction about like Galileo.
Going up an ocean, in a tip of an ocean.
Okay, I'm trying to like not. I mean, he sounds like a dumbass.
I mean, duh. I mean, yeah.
But also, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think like, oh, it was a long time ago. I don't know. Give him the benefit of the doubt. But I love that even people back then were like, are you fucking kidding, you dumbass?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't look like a pear-shaped boob.
However, he wrote to the monarchs in Spain, the queen and king, and telling them about his, wild theory that only he believes.
From Italy.
Yeah.
Because the Italian government was like, no, you're dumb.
Fuck out of here. And they were just like, yeah, cool. Titties, bring us back some spices. Like, they didn't give a shit.
Titties and spice and everything nice.
I think we found the name of the episode.
Yes.
Titties and spice and everything nice. I need that t-shirt. It is just a picture of Columbus on the back with an X.
Yes.
Oh my God. Someone make that happen, please.
Oh my God.
So Columbus, he landed on what he thought was Asia because he's a dizzy bitch. It was, in fact, one of the islands in the Bahamas. I'm going to take a sip because this is where it gets.
I was just going to say I need to take a sip.
Yeah. I'm not going to go into detail because it's really, really horrifying.
Yeah.
But he arrived and he found a hospitable tribe of native people. They brought him like beads and food. They were kind of like, are you okay, sis? Do you need anything? So to repay their kindness, he goes back to Spain, comes back, 17 ships, 1,200 men.
Oh, so he like fully was like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. Goodbye. I'll be back in a minute.
So I took this out of my outline. It's so fucked up, but he writes in his diary essentially that like, oh, these people are so nice. Like you wouldn't even need that many people to kill them.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
He's like, hi, have you ever heard of smallpox?
Yeah. He talks about, he writes how they had never seen weapons before and they were asking about the swords and they were accidentally cutting themselves because they weren't trying to kill people.
Sure.
Yeah, so he comes back
oh my God.
to perform the crime of genocide.
Oh dear.
Yeah. And 50 years later, 250,000 of native indigenous people had been reduced to around 200.
Holy fuck.
Yeah.
250,000 people.
Yeah.
Just gone
250,000. Yeah.
1,000 people just gone.
Yeah. Well, 50 years is like, really a blink, but yeah.
Because he's like, oh, they're so nice. Let's fucking murder them all.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much writing about it. Of course, they killed a lot of people. A lot of people got sick. There are a lot of suicides. A lot of native
Sure.
people
Yeah.
started just poisoning their own crops, stopped growing things. They're like, okay, we're all gonna die in this
What's the
bitch.
point? Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
a lot
you
of
show up.
really awful slavery, and it was
Yeah.
bad, really, really bad.
Good Lord. I mean, that's horrific. You show up with weapons and dirty legs and
Yeah. Yeah,
Jesus.
50 years later, everyone's gone. So he would bounce around the Caribbean, killing and brutally enslaving the indigenous people who were left. And this is the real story of Christopher Columbus. He was a murderous, incompetent piece of shit who still died thinking he was in India, despite all evidence.
This fucking moron.
Yeah, but again, he was just like anti-reality. Like he had his own math. He's just in his own little world, and this is the man that we are celebrating. So over the next few hundred years, no one gave a shit about Christopher Columbus, because why would you?
Because the man was a fucking moron, and he never discovered North America.
He didn't discover shit. There were people who were there for thousands of years. It's white supremacy in action.
Yeah, discover's not. He didn't even set foot.
Didn't even get there. Yeah.
Yeah, he quote unquote discovered what, the Caribbean? What was it that where he was originally?
Bahamas.
Yeah. I mean, not that he even discovered that, because clearly there were 250,000 people there already.
Yeah.
But never even set foot on what we know as America today.
Yeah, and that's why the Caribbean is like referred to the West Indies, which is like a name that I'm just like,
oh my God, of course. It never even, yes.
Yeah. Like that's what they called it. Because again,
Indies, because
these dumb bitches thought they were in India.
Because they went
just the west part. Get out of here.
It's like thousands of miles away from India. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. So again, no one knew who the fuck that girl was, because why would you? All of this changed when Washington Irving. Do you know who Washington Irving?
Yeah. Yes.
Was? Okay. Yeah. He decided to give old Chris a makeover. He's, for people who don't know, he's the author of Sleepy Hollow, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. So he
also Halloween appropriate.
Yeah. Oh, that's true. So Irving wrote the first quote unquote biography of Christopher Columbus in 1828. In this book, he talks about how Columbus proved the earth was round and discovered America.
Sounds about white.
Yeah. Americans ate that shit up.
That they did.
Yummy. Ate it. I don't know if you're aware, Tux, but we're number one.
We're number one. We're number one. Yeah, they were like, oh, this is succulent. Very little spice. I love it.
So
is that black pepper I taste? Ooh la la.
Yeah, mess. So I feel like this is a good spot for a little break. See,
I was literally just thinking, oh, I hope there's a break soon, because I could use another Gimlet.
Same. Yeah, you're gonna need it, because when we get back, we're gonna be talking about the lynching that gave us Columbus Day.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, well, at least I'll have a fresh cocktail for that.
Correct.
Happy Halloween.
Oh my God.
We'll be right back.
All right, bye.
Well, hello there. Do you wish your high school history course had more drinking, more swearing, and more ladies?
Well, do we have the show for you? Herstory on the Rocks is a long-form podcast talking about good women, bad women, fictional women, and non-fictional women from all times and places.
Basically, each week we pair two women who we research with a themed signature cocktail.
You won't be sorry you listened to our latest episode.
Available everywhere you listen to podcasts.
Cheers.
And we're back.
There we go.
With
and
fresh
we're back.
Gimlets.
This is what happens when we drink Gimlets.
Yeah, Dev has to take a file that's 4 hours long and He's soon to learn Tim's pain from the first few episodes of the show, where we literally sent Tim files that were no joke,
We wouldn't do
4
that to
hours
Deb.
long.
We wouldn't do that to Deb. And that was only episode 2.
It was.
We
yes.
didn't know what we were doing. Deb, Tux is trying to scare you. Don't listen.
It's Halloween after all.
Woohoo.
Spooky.
Okay, we need to stop. So in the years following the Reconstruction, before lynching became like this, unfortunately, the preferred method of white supremacist terror, there was, I don't want to get into the Reconstruction because I think we need to do, we need to do it properly, and it'll take multiple episodes to really dive deeply.
That's the thing about these stories that like take, I love a story that's like a big story.
Yeah.
But I hate, well, I don't want to say I hate, but it's always so overwhelming to do a story that's going to cover multiple episodes.
Yes. Overwhelming is a good word for it, because you want to do it, and it's just too big.
Yeah. I actually have a story that I think I'm going to be doing that's going to span November and December.
Me too. Not November and December, but I have a 2-part.
Yeah, but I'm like
in the wind.
I'm like planning ahead to make sure that they come one after the other, and it's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just have to tell that story. So for those who don't know, I feel like everyone knows what lynching is. Everyone knows what lynching is, right?
If you're American and you don't know what lynching is,
okay,
where have you been?
Right? It's killing someone who has not been tried. It's what the police does.
Yes.
Essentially.
Usually involving a tree of some sort.
Well, it's not always a tree. Okay, so trigger warning for people who are sensitive to violence. It's not always hanging. Sometimes it's burning. If it's a pregnant woman, they sometimes cut out the fetus and stomp on it or cut it up.
I didn't know that was considered lynching. I thought it always had to be a hanging to be considered lynching.
No, any sort of, like, it could be mutilation, then like burning or death. It's just any awful way to kill someone before they've been tried.
I did not know that. I literally thought that it was just hanging, another word for hanging.
No. Yeah. According to Wikipedia, it's the jurisdictional, like extra jurisdictional, meaning that you haven't been tried for a crime, and it's a brutal murder. Death
penalty without trial.
Correct. Wow. That's what it is.
I did not know that.
I'm glad I'm like, everyone knows.
Learning things on Beyond Reproach. Yeah.
Every day.
Oh, see, here I am being like, if you're an American, you don't know. No, I literally just thought it meant it was another word for hanging.
No.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's just, barbaric vigilante justice.
Yes. Okay.
It was. I think I might do. I don't know if my soul and my heart can take it, but there's like lynchings were it was like an American pastime. Yeah, kids got out of school. There were special trains for it. There were souvenirs.
I'm not surprised. I mean, look at like the Salem witch trials. People would it was a fucking holiday. Everyone would show up, and the same in England. When there was like hangings and that kind of shit, like it was everybody.
It was a thing to do.
Yeah, family fun, fun for the whole family.
It was entertainment. Mm-hmm. So there were some very, very lukewarm presidential efforts to stop the lynching. Like, guys, don't do that.
Yeah,
that's bad. Stop.
No.
But it never really became a big political issue because it largely targeted Black people, Native people, people of color, brown people, Asian people. Yeah. I mean, there were white people who were lynched. I'm just hearing Twitter people being like, but they killed.
But what about the Irish? And
exactly. Yeah. Look at you. Thank you.
Yeah. No, but it largely affected marginalized communities and minorities. Yeah.
Yes. They were the people who weren't considered full citizens in the eyes of the U.S. government. Some of us aren't now. I mean, most of us aren't now.
Thank you, Supreme Court.
Yeah. So the white national consensus was that lynching and racial violence just generally, they were local matters. They were, it was
Sure.
kind of like a lone wolf vibe. Like these people did something and the mob just, spoke.
Who's to stop them?
Who's to stop them? And they said that it was rough justice was the term that was in
Oh.
a lot of newspapers. Yes, rough justice in response to supposed crimes. Crimes never proven.
Rough justice. Wow.
Similar to
Okay.
today. Yeah, rough justice. So just in 1 month in 1889, the failing New York Times, did what they did. They recycled the headline, "Brutal Negro Lynched," 11 times.
11 times the same brutal Negro?
No, different brutal Negroes.
Oh, they used that phrase.
They
brutal-
recycled it, yes. Because that's how they talked about lynching. It's like they got what they deserved. Yeah. Yeah.
What year was this again?
1889.
That's too late. Failing New York Times.
Thank you. So that was how the nation felt about lynching. Who cares, essentially. All of this changed when white people fucked around and lynched a few Italians.
Oh dear, not the Italians.
The Italians. So to set the scene, New Orleans was the home of the largest population of Italians in the South. There were
Okay.
larger populations in Chicago and New York, obviously,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
south of the Mason-Dixon line, like New Orleans was the spot. Most of the Italians, it's kind of similar to Chicago, but a little bit different from New York. Most of the Italians in New Orleans were Sicilian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Picture it, Sicily. 1898. Yeah.
So though many Sicilians, they did manage to integrate, they had businesses, they had families, they created community, they still were not welcomed in.
I mean, much like Jewish people who
It's the
also have white
immigrants-
skin, but
Yeah.
have their own culture and their own community.
So their
That's not
language,
allowed.
it isn't allowed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Their language, their culture, their community, their customs were seen as foreign and dangerous by some of the people in New Orleans.
Yeah, not surprised in any way whatsoever.
Yeah. They had that wrong look about them.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if you know, like Sicilians are darker skin because they're the kind of most southern. It's an island off the coast of Italy, and some of the islands off the coast of Sicily. On a clear day, you can see Tunisia. It's that close to Africa.
Oh, okay. I have, as somebody who grew up in a very heavily Italian small town in upstate New York, many times growing up heard the term Black Italian.
Oh, wow.
And
wow, I've never heard that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, they meant Sicilians, Black
Wow,
Italian.
Okay, so I don't know if the listeners wow, these fucking cocktails.
It's time to take another sip, Stephanie.
I don't know if the listeners know, but my first solo travel experience was in Sicily. Prior to me traveling by myself, I was dating a guy whose birthday was 2 days after mine, and we used to travel for our birthdays. He, in like classic man fashion, was like, "Oh, I don't care about my birthday," and I'm like, "Well, I do." Either we're having a joint birthday party, which he was not down with, because
You don't even want your own, sir.
yeah, he was not into a joint birthday party, but we decided that we were going to travel for our birthdays. So when we broke up, it was either me travel by myself or not go. And like, this girl loves a birthday. So I went to Sicily and I fell in love. It was just such a beautiful environment. And the men are really fucking hot because they are, I guess, Black Italian.
Black Italian. Yeah.
So yeah, these types of Italians, they had that wrong look about them.
Mm-hmm.
That sexy wrong look about them.
With the BDE.
Oh yes. I'm like, what's the BDE?
BDE.
Yeah,
yes.
with BDE, yes. Were you the one who sent me that like meme about someone said it was like fat dick energy?
No.
Like their mom got confused and like tried to use it as moms do.
Mm-hmm.
And said fat dick energy, which is like that is its own energy.
Yeah,
that was you, right? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the energy I really want.
FDE is
it's where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
It's the only energy I fuck with, actually, in my mind. So when a New Orleans police chief named David Hennessy, he was gunned down in New Orleans. This was like the flame moment. Hennessy had become famous in 1881 for his role in capturing a supposed mafioso.
Supposed, uh-huh.
Yeah. So this dude
he was just an Italian person.
There we go.
Yeah.
He had that wrong sexy look about him.
Mm-hmm.
So rumors began to swirl as Hennessy, this is like, as the legend goes, Hennessy lay dying and he used a derogatory slur for Italians to identify his murderer. And it's like, this man just could hate Italians.
But it was, did you not say that he was Italian?
No, he wasn't Italian. No.
Okay.
He was just a police chief in New Orleans who was gunned down.
Oh, he was gunned down. Okay.
Yeah, he was. I'm sorry. I should have said he was gunned down by unknown assailants.
Sure. I'm also drunk, so
yeah.
It's fine. You probably.
No, I didn't say that by unknown assailants. It's
for some reason in my head I thought you were saying this police chief gunned down an Italian assailant.
No.
That's because alcohol happened.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Alcohol, drugs, and alcohol have ruined my life.
This is the sound of us drinking our favorite cocktail.
100%. After our we didn't know that it's delicious cocktail, but we had several of them because they're so good. Yes.
Ooh, it was be hitting. Who knew? I guess we knew back then.
It smacks. It slaps, not smacks. Slaps. Oh my God, I'm so white. I just said it smacks.
White and old. And I'm like, I'm not here right now.
Oh my God, I want to retreat into my own body. I just said it smacks. What is wrong?
You did. And I still love you. It's okay.
Fuck.
You're going to walk it off.
I'm going to blame alcohol, but it's my lily white skin that is really the problem.
Did you see that? I posted a meme maybe like 2 weeks ago. Someone had made, maybe it was like more than 2 weeks ago, but some teacher, a college teacher, had like made a spreadsheet of like popular words and like
yes, I did.
Mean.
Yes, and then there was like a translation of what
good
what they mean in white. Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna add it to Instagram when this episode comes out because I mean, I did know most. Okay, I probably knew all of them.
There were a few that I was like,
yeah, but his clarifications are spot on. They're so good. And I think he's our age. He's like not even that old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we're pushing 40 and that's old today.
I can't wait to turn 40.
I have been
so excited.
Well, this has nothing to do with anything.
But go on.
I'm sure Dev will cut this because why would he not? But when I was in my 20s, especially like 28, 29, I was so excited to turn 30 and could not wait to be done with my 20s.
Same.
But as I have approached 39, I have been not nearly as excited to turn 40 until...
Oh, there we go.
Until very recently, where I'm like 6 months out from 40, and I'm like, oh, I'm already excited, feeling it. I'm already feeling like I am 40, and I'm like, this is a better way.
Yeah.
This is a better way.
Same. That's how I feel. Like even before I turned 39, I'm like, next year I'm going to be 40, and it's going to be great.
It took me a little longer than it did when I was 29. It was like 28 where I was like, I'm done. I'm done with this. This is garbage. I don't want to be in my 20s anymore. This is for suckers. But 40 took me but young people.
Young people, yeah. I used to have a blog that was called like For Suckers and Old People, and like it was just like me, the inner workings of my brain, which no one should ever. Actually, Devin, take this out. Don't look at this blog.
I'm like, can I find this blog? Because I was not aware of this actually.
Oh, really?
I have heard you say For Suckers and Old People, but I did not know
it was like a political blog that I made. Hopefully it's no longer.
Is it on like GeoCities?
Probably, yeah. I think it was WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
I need to stop telling on myself.
Again, I'm just dating us talking about GeoCities. Nobody knows.
I know, right? No, I think GeoCities was before our time. Don't put GeoCities on us. Don't do this to me.
Oh, I have a friend who is younger than me, who used to have a GeoCities website that was called Beanie Baby Universe.
Oh my God.
That was like sort of looked like Space Jam, whereas like
Oh, of course. All the
yeah.
like the things that give you seizures.
It was
like
either Beanie Baby Universe or Galaxy, but
MySpace.
either way, yeah.
Oh yeah, it did. Wow, what a moment that
Mhm.
was.
I'm so sorry, Dev. We need to.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on.
It's all. Yeah. None of this is usable.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's up to you if you want to use it. If you want us to be embarrassed, that's fine. As long as it's funny, it's fine.
You want us to be embarrassed?
I am willing to be embarrassed if it is funny.
Same.
Yes.
Same. Yeah. Moving on. So as he lays dying, he's cursing Italian people. And it's like, dude could just hate Italian people. Doesn't mean that Italian people killed him. Like Occam's razor. Like, why?
Okay, so I have to say, I'm sorry to interrupt again.
No,
Because
go on.
I'm only apologizing to Dev at this point.
Okay.
When I was a teen, a rowdy, rambunctious teen, I loved drugs and alcohol.
Got it.
And more alcohol than anything. Alcohol was my drug of choice. And one night I got very, very drunk on, I think it was like Fireball or some cinnamon flavored bullshit.
Yeah. Oh,
And
no.
I ended up getting alcohol poisoning. And I passed out in someone's yard and they called the
Ah.
police and I got taken to the hospital. I was probably like 15 years old.
They pump your stomach or something? Like
They
what is
pumped
it?
my stomach, yes.
Oh,
And
fuck.
I passed out, blacked out in someone's yard, and I woke up with my mom standing over me and screaming, like, where did you get it? Where did it come from? And in that inebriated, stomach pumped, hospitalized state, I was like there enough to blame her now ex-boyfriend, who I hated, even though he was not the person who actually supplied me with the alcohol.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So I see that man dying
And you get
in the
it.
streets
Yeah.
and blaming someone else that had nothing to do with his death.
See, that's good perspective. Okay, because I'm just like in my mind, I'm like, he's just cursing the fact that Italians still live and he's about to die. But yeah, that he consciously blamed them because he hates them.
Yeah, no, I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, it was Tom Hawley gave me the liquor.
He loves Fireball. Just look at him.
He was an Italian after all, so
Was he?
yeah, he was.
Okay, no one can hear my mouth open. What? Okay.
The hinge has broken.
Okay, Tux is a bigot. Moving on.
Facts are facts, America.
So this like supposed mafioso, he was just, he was probably some dude. But that didn't matter because rumors started to swirl that obviously Italians did this. So following the murder, Italians were just arrested in mass. 19 people were just pulled off the street, including a 14-year-old boy. And they were all arrested in connection with this crime. Like all 19 of them shot him. Okay, sure.
From wherever, they were just being Italian with guns and all over the place.
He was shot 3 times, but all 19 of them did it because you know how they are. What was the evidence, you asked? Vibes. Just vibes.
That's fair.
Yeah, right?
I get that. I mean,
I rest my case. Just vibes.
He was clearly wearing a t-shirt that said good vibes only. So
I mean, he should have been. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
So there was no evidence against any of these 19 people. None at all. So 9.
Does that mean anything? Does that matter in some way? Evidence? What's evidence? Explain.
Because they were, even though they weren't white, it did go to trial. They weren't technically white yet. It did all go to trial.
Yes, they had white skin, but they weren't white.
Yes.
Yes.
Correct. So of the 9 sent to trial, because not all 19 of them went, 9 were sent to trial. 6 of the accused, they were just acquitted. And the trial of the other 3 ended in a mistrial because, again, there was no evidence. And yet, all of them were thrown back into prison.
Even though... I'm sorry, what?
Yes.
Okay. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Makes total sense. I get it.
So, yeah, 19 of them were tried. 9 of the arrests went to trial. No one was convicted. So the police chief's murder was really big national news because it validated just a lot of negative stereotypes and xenophobia that was just popular in the culture at the time. New Orleans residents, instead of looking at, okay, the fact that all of these trials, everything that's gone to trial so far has said these people are innocent, they weren't buying it. They thought it was a mafia plot, a conspiracy, that the mafia had influenced jurors. And, you know, just look at them. Local papers.
All 19 of them clearly did it.
Yeah, they did it together. They all held the gun together.
Mm-hmm.
All of their hands, one
that makes
gun.
Complete sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm on board with that explanation.
So local papers urged white citizens to gather in the streets and, quote, take steps to remedy the failure of justice. The mob included a lot of influential people in New Orleans at the time. They gathered together in the streets as told to them by the papers, and they broke into the prison and they shot 11 of the 19 men. Not only that, they mutilated their bodies.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's,
Yeah.
as you would. As you would.
It was really, really bad. And like there's national press in all the major cities. After the lynching, northern newspapers, they expressed their deepest sympathies with the lynch mob.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Arguing that the lynching was quote, the only recourse available considering the perversion of justice by the mafia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Henry Cabot Lodge, he's like this nativist senator from Massachusetts. He argued that, quote, whatever the proximate causes of the shocking events at New Orleans may have been, the underlying cause, and the one with which alone people of the United States can deal, is to be found in the utter carelessness with which we treat immigration to this country. We just shouldn't have let them in. They'd be alive if they just weren't here getting killed by us.
It's their own fault for not just staying where they were.
So yeah, fuck that guy.
This is giving me big like Sacco and Vanzetti vibes.
Yeah. So the lynch,
we need to cover that story at some point.
It's a good one.
I mean, it's also sort of like it's the same. It's not the same, but it's the same.
It's very similar. It's the playbook.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the lynching in New Orleans only became a bad look because they fucked up and they killed 3 Italian nationals. These nationals fell under the protection of Italy's. I think Italy.
I was going to say
at the time. So it violated treaties. It violated a treaty that Italy had with the United States.
Uh-huh.
And Washington soon found that this was not going away. They were not going to let it go, that this country killed 3 people and their murderers just got off. So a day after the lynching, the Italian consul in New Orleans, a man named Pasquale Corte, he wrote to the Italian ambassador in Washington, was like, dude, this is not okay. We need to do something. He called the men who killed these 3 popolaccio, which means like the dregs of society. And he also added that they were riff-raff. I'm like, sir, you can do more. You can do more than riff-raff.
I mean, what he already did with dregs of society.
Yeah, I guess. But adding riff-raff just seems very silly.
It negates what he already said. Yeah.
So the lynching,
they're just a couple of hooligans over here.
Just locker room. They just went too far. They're fine. So the lynching of the Italians brought immediate political pressure from the Italian embassy, and it generated negative, like really negative headlines in Europe. And that was a problem because now it's a bad look for this country. They were dubbed the Italian 11, like the 11 that were butchered in New Orleans. And it became a really big news story in London specifically. In the US, because they fancied themselves like part of the quote unquote civilized world. I mean, that term is white supremacist and garbage.
Yeah. Just as I thought. Trash.
Exactly. The US felt like it was kind of exposed. Like, oh, maybe what we're saying about ourselves is a lie.
They're like, oh my God, somebody snatched our edges?
Yes. Somebody snatched our wigs. This story snatched our wigs and our edges.
Yeah.
The British, and like, you know, fuck you, the Brits, you know, I don't care that the Queen died, you know, again, she can rest in piss.
Yes, yeah.
So the British, they never talked about lynchings because they were common, but like they didn't care when it was non-white people. But all of a sudden, they're like, oh, this is wrong. This is barbaric. Didn't you know? The Americans are barbaric.
Yeah.
So they were now taking a closer look. Like even after this happened, they were just looking at lynchings in general, and they now were making.
They're like, wait a minute, this is bad.
Yes. Who knew that lynchings were bad? Now they see it. It was embarrassing.
Sure.
Essentially, it was embarrassing. So the news was so bad that the following year, like it hadn't even been a year yet, the following year in 1892, the government paid $25,000 to each of the Italian families. That was a lot of money at the time.
What year again?
1892.
Have you done the math already?
Yes.
Okay,
it's over $800,000 to each family.
Yeah, almost $1 million each.
Within a year. Really quick coin. Nice, right? Like bodies aren't even cold for a year. Okay. So this incident, if you Google worst lynching American history, this comes up.
Of course, because they're white.
Yeah. This is white power.
Like, this is not the worst lynching in American history.
11 people. 11 in Louisiana.
No, you've left a very important word out of that. It is 11 white people lynched.
Because only white people are considered people still. Like it was so disheartening to read that, because I read I think it was an NPR article from like 2019. They're like, some people say, but like if you just Google
some people say
this, I mean, in classic NPR bullshit. But if you Google it, this comes up. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
But also
either, but like it was
bullshit.
like 11. Like you're not counting any native person, any black any like Asian, Mexican. No, okay. These 11. Okay, got it. So it is worth mentioning that Ida B. Wells, Queen Ida B. Wells, let's say, she exploited the fact that like finally the Europeans are looking at this country for what it is. She went on a tour in the UK. She traveled, she spoke about lynchings, and then finally the UK press started covering the lynchings of Black Americans after being so horrified about these Italian Americans. She is the one who popularized the fact that lynching is bad.
She was
not even bad, a bad look.
Yeah. She was a queen, but also like, really, that's what it took. But also she was, you know.
So international pressure, it led presidents that were sensitive to their image to say that lynching was bad publicly, and this was the first time.
Cool.
They first said it of Italians, and later they're just like, yeah, black people, we shouldn't do that either.
Oh yeah, I mean,
no reparations though, just vibes.
Good vibes only.
So at least, just to note, at least several thousand Black Americans and more than 400 Black Louisianans were lynched in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. But yeah, you know, go off.
These 11 people, though, that was the worst thing that could possibly have happened.
Yeah, and that's just lynchings. That's not like massacres. That's not race riots, which have such a higher body count. These are just lynchings. These are just ordinary lone wolves doing their rough justice.
Rough justice.
So on April 15th, and this is to kind of go a little bit forward, but on April 15th, 2019, the mayor of New Orleans, a woman named Latoya Cantrell, she formally apologized for these 11 lynchings.
Clearly Sicilian, right?
It was probably the hardest day of her Black life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
As if she had any responsibility whatsoever.
It's just how, like, President Obama, he apologized for Native Americans. And it's
Totally. You had nothing to do with this, sir, but thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for trying to right the wrongs of white people for them.
Well, I think they know that white people aren't going to do it. Oh my God, where was I? Not like there's.
I'm sorry. I happened to glance at my own eyebrows. Moving violently up and down. And I was like, oh man, we need to be doing something with this.
Yeah. So international pressure caused the US to like say that lynching was bad.
Shocking.
Yeah.
I'm gooped.
So they denounced that lynching was bad, first for Italians, then for Black victims, but no reparations, just vibes again.
No, we're not doing that.
So yeah, back to Columbus and how he got his day. After reparations were given with the quickness, I might add, like the story goes that President Harrison was so disturbed by what had, befallen these poor 11 people of Italian heritage that he wanted to make it up to Italian Americans. This is a story. Nothing would affirm their place than a presidential proclamation to honor prominent Italian people who had given contributions just to the world.
Like discovering, quote unquote, America, and quote unquote, learning that the earth is flat or round. Or
so
booby shaped.
Booby shaped. Oh my God. Amazing. So they wanted to do this as a way to generate some positive international attention. Like, look at these. Look what we're recognizing Italians. Look at us. Look at us go.
And their love of boobies.
And their love of. I mean, I'm not upset about their love of boobies. So his staff. This is President Harrison's staff. They made a list of notable Italians. They had Dante Alighieri, they had Michelangelo Buonarroti, they have Galilei, Marco Polo, obviously, Leonardo da Vinci, and
just
sure
kidding.
You have. Yeah, amongst others.
Yes.
But Harrison decided on Cristoforo Colombo.
Mm-hmm.
But they're like, let's call him Chris. Let's call him Chris.
Because who isn't already named Chris in this country at that point?
And who in Cristoforo? That sounds.
We can't
ethnic.
be doing all that. Yes.
In Colombo, Colombo, ending in a vowel. Oh, that sounds Italian.
He sounds like Jessica Fletcher, but male. I don't want anything to do with it.
Amazing. I loved Colombo. I was just watching a lot of TNT as a child. And it was either Jessica Fletcher, which I preferred, obviously, but I watched them both and enjoyed it.
Facts are
They're
facts.
just like Christopher Columbus, like that has zazz.
That sounds about white.
Yeah, it has Zork Kapauza as well. Do you remember that from?
No, I do not.
Oh my God! Do you remember when Lisa is on like the news at her school, and then like Bart joins and he does like a sports kind of column, and he gets really, really popular.
No.
And he becomes her co-anchor.
Oh my God, no, I don't know.
Oh my God. Okay, well then I'm gonna. Okay, yeah. The Zazz Zork Kapauza is from The Simpsons.
Oh my God.
So Columbus, like, why did they choose Colombo out of all of these really amazing Italians to recognize? It was just a happy coincidence. The year was 1892. So it would be the 400th anniversary.
Oh my God.
But they would just be celebrating it for the 400th year, not the other 100 years.
That's
but
so
whatever.
Stupid.
Right? It's so good. So Harrison became the first president to call for a national observance of Columbus Day. His proclamation directly, in his mind, linked the legacy of Columbus to American patriotism.
Mm-hmm.
So he said, on that day, let the people, so far as possible, cease from toil and devote themselves to such exercises as may best express the honor to the discoverer.
The discoverer.
The discoverer and their appreciation of the great achievements of the 4 completed centuries of American life.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's curious that this little proclamation of his did not mention him by name. It didn't talk about Italy. It didn't talk about their culture. Cute, right? Clever. So Italian Americans, I should say, they got paid for these awful, brutal murders, these injustices with vibes.
I love it. What more could you ask?
Thank you. You want more than vibes? We can't do that. And more importantly, this whole speech, it got the country to rally around a fabricated white supremacist superhero.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it. It sounds exactly like what we needed at the moment.
Yeah. Because Italian Americans were still really, really struggling against religious and ethnic discrimination, not to mention violence, because they weren't white yet. They really latched onto this idea of Christopher Columbus and his life and accomplishments, because it was a way for them to feel like they were part of the mainstream American culture.
Sure. Yeah, I guess I understand that. It's just like the whole idea of A, he was garbage, and B, it was the Spanish government paying for it. And
yeah,
I mean, C,
he was from Genoa,
D-E,
but yeah. And Italian Americans, they didn't know that Washington Irving made this shit all up, because again, he's not celebrated in Italy for those reasons you just said. He was a tool of the Spanish government, and they don't have that attachment to him.
Yeah, for sure.
But Columbus proved that okay, Italian Americans can be part of this kind of made up story as well.
I love it.
So what'd you say? I love it.
I love it.
But it's a good story. I get, if it would be great if it's true, but it's just, it is lies.
It's not.
Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't be great, but I get why they tell this shit to kids.
Yeah.
Because it's this explorer who he went left when everyone was going right, and he created this great nation.
I mean, if only it were even remotely true.
Yeah.
And if it weren't this dumbass went the wrong way when everyone knew he shouldn't.
Yeah. And he's lucky he's still alive.
Literally. And he's lucky.
Very
Everyone
lucky.
else was unlucky.
Yeah.
That he showed up and just murdered 500,000 people, or 250,000 people.
250,000.
For no fucking reason, because there was no spice there to begin with.
Yeah, and gold too. They thought they were in the wrong place. But that is the wild journey of Christopher Columbus, and how just an incompetent, violent, genocidal piece of shit became this national hero that's still celebrated today.
Well, thank you so much for telling that story, because I knew bits and pieces.
Same.
I did not know the whole story, but I definitely it's been in the back of my mind for a long time. And I'm so glad that we finally got there. Yeah.
Washington Irving, 3 Italians, and white supremacy. That's all it took.
Ah, good golly. All right. Well, I can't.
At least we had a good cocktail, our favorite cocktail.
We sure did, yes. One of our absolute favorites, yes. Mine's gone. She done been gone.
Yeah, I have I have 1 sip left.
Do it. Chug.
She done.
Chug.
She done.
Yeah. America's history is juicy. We just add gin and Rose's lime cordial.
Ooh.
Yeah, this has been quite the episode. Thank you so much for listening to Beyond Reproach. This has been Tux Lurzel.
Stephanie Domingo.
Signing off.
Yes.
Thank you to our new audio editor, Dev. We quite literally could not do this without you.
We're so sorry.
Yeah, it's true. Facts are facts, America.
I was hoping to like shield him from us for a little bit longer.
Episode, yeah, second month in, and we're like, woo!
This is our favorite cocktail, though.
And also, we weren't expecting to love the one before.
True. Yeah. That's very
That
true.
part,
Yeah.
that part.
That is the part. Yeah. Vodka. Who knew? Who knew we loved it?
Yes.
Because it tastes like nothing.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. That's it.
That's it, y'all.
Spooky Halloween.
Bye.
Ooh. All right. Bye. Okay, no, really. Goodbye.
Okay. Bye. We're out of here. Mic drop.
Thank you for listening to Beyond Reproach. Please note that we are not historians. We're just a couple of drunks who never shut up and love history. A full list of all source information can be found in the show notes on our website. Please take a moment to rate, review, and subscribe. Written reviews are especially important. If you like us, please do one of two things. Leave us a written review on Apple Podcasts or send this episode to a friend, family member, or someone who you think would be into it. Don't forget to follow us on social media and make sure you follow us on Instagram because we post our cocktail recipes the Thursday before each full episode. Please drink along with us if you are not driving. We also have a shop on beyondreproachpod.com. Get your merch, brand yourselves. And we also have exclusive content on Patreon where you can directly support the production of our show.